remind you, but then I thought, I was like, if she doesn't remember, then I'll just do it. So I was prepared either way.
In my planner.
Okay, good. I figured that you would remember anyway, but I was just like, either way, it'll work out. Because I had extra days I could move you to. But, alright. This is where we left off when we were talking about the root area of pride and overcoming pride. And the evidences in our life where we can see pride as a root. And one way that we can see that is whenever we view others as lower than ourselves. I think all of us probably think right now of someone that we think lower than ourselves, probably. Just subconsciously, even. Just because of certain biases that we were all raised with or have naturally because of living here, you know. And then, yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if any of you guys want to comment on that. I view this person as lower than myself.
I mean, I get, like, on the negative side of that, like, I can say, like, I've done that for sure. Like, I've gotten a big head about something and been like, I am so much better than that person. And, you know, I've definitely been knocked down a few notches before when I thought something like that or acted that way.
Mm-hmm. I can see ways that my dad even, like, his commentary about certain people would even make me think that. I don't think he was intentionally trying to do that, but he does. I mean, there's some things my dad says, I'm just like, Dad, like, I don't know if you realize, but that's racist. Or that was really kind of, you know, prideful or whatever. I don't know, and maybe his generation was a little bit, like, you know, our generation is kind of more politically correct and is a lot more touchy about those things, whereas maybe his generation, you know, it was just normal to talk like that. But I'm just like, Dad, please don't say that to anybody else. You're gonna get punched in the face. But yeah. Next one, we'll just move on then. Desire for others to meet my needs. I've been in places where I felt like we kind of come to a place sometimes in life where, or just certain days, where you have this attitude like everyone is here for me, like to meet my needs, to do what I need them to do, and when they're not doing what I need them to do or being there for me, then I don't need them, or, you know, it's kind of just the opposite of how we're supposed to live. I mean, we're supposed to live wanting to serve one another and put others before us. So there's just some moments, I mean, especially if you do live that way, where you are putting others' needs before your own, there's some moments where you're just like, I need me time, or I need someone to serve me, you know? And that's why we should be doing that. Like, everybody should be doing that, so that if everyone has that attitude, then you are being served as well. Especially in a marriage relationship. If both of you have the attitude to meet the other one's needs, then both of their needs are being met. So the other one isn't being, you know, deprived of, or like constantly giving, and then everyone else is just taking. Yeah, it's called, like, I think in marriage counseling, it's called, like, making sure their love bucket is filled, I think has been said. I've heard it said.
Deposit and withdrawals would really good way to look at it too.
Yeah, deposits and withdrawals. Yeah, and that is important. And so, I mean, it is important for us to be healthy in that way as well. And that's one reason why it's important to spend even just alone time with God, is because you are serving Him in that moment, but He is pouring so much more out into you than you could ever, you know, lavish on Him. So, so that's another reason why that time would, like, just time with God is important, is because you're receiving filling in your love bucket there that you can't even get from people. And some days you might not even get from people. You know, you might not have anybody that's doing that, but at least you had God doing that for you that day. And then that helps you to be able to better serve others if you've been with Him. So desire for self-advancement, just the thought of what's in it for me, everything, like what's in it for me, and that's what you're always asking yourself. How does this benefit me? And there's some things that God asks people to do in the Bible, and God asks us to do, that doesn't necessarily benefit us just straightforwardly or obviously. In the long run it will, or just character-wise it will, but, you know, in some situations, something may not benefit you, you know, outright. But it's not all about us. I think that's a lesson that comes with maturity, is knowing it's not all about me.
I never realized how closely pride and selfishness are tied together until that slide right there. I mean, personally.
That's a good point.
Because all those things I would have looked at as selfish, you know.
Yeah.
On me, like,
yeah.
You know, but it's
That's
just
true.
enlightening to think about that as pride.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Pride and selfishness. Yeah, that's true. I remember, I just thought of a story from youth camp. We were in devotions after a service, and this one girl was talking about how she just, like, she had the opportunity to feel kind of, like, self-pity because other people were getting words, or other people were getting prayed for, or, like, she just wasn't feeling anything in the moment, and she just thought, you know, it's not all about me. It's not all about if I'm feeling anything right now, or if someone's, you know, giving me an awesome prophetic word or something like that. Right now, I just need to decide to worship God anyways, you know?
That's right.
And I was like, I called her out in the devotion time, and I was like, that is such a mature lesson that it takes some people forever to get. I was like, that's awesome that you got that all on your own. Like, you figured it out, you know? That's a big step. I was, like, so proud of her. And, you know, I mean, it was almost like I was more proud of her than I was anyone that even saw some amazing vision or something, because I was just like, that is a character piece that you can carry with you for the rest of your life that will just mean so much, you know? If you can take a moment where it's like, you know what, all these awesome things are happening, but I don't really feel connected, or I don't feel like I'm being pulled in, but it doesn't matter. God is still good, and I'll still worship him. That's, like, a huge lesson. So, all right, next one, drawing attention to my abilities and achievements. I feel like that's dangerous, because the minute you start pointing it all on you and your abilities and your achievements, I mean, that makes me nervous for anybody who'd want to do that. Or if I ever did that, that God would immediately just be like, rip the rug out from under you and be like, fall on your face and realize it really wasn't you the whole time. I don't think God works like that, but you know what I mean. If you're relying on yourself and not him, you more easily stumble, and then you realize that, you know, when you rely on yourself, I mean, when you rely on yourself and your abilities and your achievements, it makes all that pressure on you, and maybe you want that because you think, I can carry this, but then, man, it just makes it so much harder. I feel like it seems so much easier to rely on God, but maybe not in some situations. Have you ever had the attitude, I always think of The Little Mermaid, whenever Sebastian goes, if you want something done, you've got to do it yourself. You know, whenever he's, like, forcing them to have a romantic moment in the boat. Have any of you ever had that attitude? If you want something done, just do it yourself. That's not necessarily bad all the time.
I'm like, I'm a wife and a mom. What?
Yeah. Yeah, you just got to.
Satan worship.
I'm like, man, I have got this all wrong. Sorry.
Well, I'm not saying I'm not saying having that attitude is bad overall, like a blanket statement. If you want something done, you got to do it yourself. Sometimes you do. But it's, I think I'm saying it's not, like, you don't just rely completely on your talents and
I think you were right the first
drawing
time.
attention to those things.
Because if I live out of that, then what's happening at my house? My kids are learning, my husband's learning how to do this stuff and become functioning people. So it actually is not good, then I'm like, well, you just not do this like I need it to
Yes.
be done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a certain amount of letting go that I have to
Yeah.
do to be able to be like, well, how did they learn?
Mm-hmm.
Unless they, you know.
That's how it is in ministry too. You have to delegate. So, you know, you're not doing everything, getting burnt out. But then you're also giving other people the chance to have the great, you know, to be used by God and to learn and, you know, or even fail, you know. You're giving people that opportunity and they need that. But also, it is key drawing attention to those things, making it all about you. I mean, I'm not dogging on the worship team, but people on the worship team could, you know, can relate to that too. Seeing others be that way, or having times where you did that yourself, drawing attention to your own abilities. I'm up here because I'm really good at this. So. Yeah, I've heard stories. I'm not dogging on you guys because I've seen you guys that way. I'm dogging on you guys because I've heard Michael tell me.
I'm surprised
so I'm like,
you haven't seen it. If you haven't.
Okay, well, I think I have seen it firsthand in some people, but not like. Okay, yeah, I have. I mean, some people it's just obvious. Gosh, they just make it so obvious. But no, other times it's just stories I've heard from people that were on the team. All right, let's move on. Feeling sorry for myself, self-pity when I'm not appreciated. Okay, and like sometimes, you know, if you're not being appreciated, it's okay to be a little bit upset over that. But, you know, if you're always being that way, or, I mean, because sometimes, you know, if you just don't feel appreciated, it's kind of, just voice that, like, I just, you know, need a little, like, what is that, love language? Yeah, words of affirmation every now and then, and just let people know that. But just, you know, self-pity whenever you're not being appreciated.
Is weak.
Yes. And it's like, where's your heart in that? It is a root of pride. It's not a serving attitude like what Christ would have.
Like you want to be appreciated so that you're like exalted, not so you're like encouraged to keep going. Kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Or sometimes, I want the encouragement so it can just like push me forward and be like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing this, you know. Okay. Focus on my knowledge and experience. That kind of goes back to drawing attention to my abilities. Self-sufficient attitude, excluding God or others. Okay, and that was kind of I'll do it myself. I can do this alone. My goodness. I feel like I was doing that yesterday, where I was just like trying to get a lot of stuff done, and at one point I just realized I was like, I just need to draw on the grace of God. That is what I need to do, because I felt so overwhelmed and so stressed out. And so I just put on some worship music, and it kind of went with what Jason shared on Sunday about sometimes in certain moments, like, what the enemy is wanting to do is steal your worship. That was what his goal was in the beginning, was siphon worship from God. And so, in some of those hard times or rough moments or whatever, he's just wanting to steal your worship. So what can you do instead to counteract that is to actually worship God. So I just turned on some worship music and started praising God, because I was just like, you know, I feel like I was kind of leaving him out of what I was trying to do when I needed to really let him in so I could just make it. So, get that stuff done. Okay. So in each root area, there's going to be these slides where it compares what the world says as opposed to what the word says. And I really like that comparison in these. So when it comes to pride and overcoming pride, the world says that freedom is doing what you want, whereas the word says that freedom is doing what God wants. And the world says that power is success, and it's, what is it called? A paradox. Powerlessness is success in the word. Putting down others elevates you, versus building others up elevates you. Humbling yourself is a sign of weakness. Serving others is a sign of strength. And also, humbling yourself is a sign of strength. You will be exalted. Telling others of your great deeds will gain respect. Glorifying God and telling of his great acts will bring you respect. Exalt yourself and you will be great. Humble yourself and God will exalt you. I think that the one that stands out to me the most in this list is putting down others elevates you. Man, I thought that a lot in high school. It made me feel so good to put others down because it made me feel better about myself. Major sign of immaturity. I just remember doing that a lot in high school. Because